All right. Good morning, KW Prosperity. It is Thursday, May 28th. The week is really kind of flying by. It was a little bit of a short week with Memorial Day, but we're moving right along. Uh, and from what I've been hearing, the market is definitely moving. We were on a call this morning with our leadership team, and we noticed that this week in particular, there were a lot of things that have been going into attorney review and hopefully then going under contract. So things are moving along, and hopefully the information that we're providing in these sessions have been helpful and informative, and will help you as restrictions start to lift or continue to lift. So today, and as I mentioned, Mary will be on shortly, but we're going to keep moving along. Um, what we've been covering this week has really been the net a million phase. So the first couple of weeks when we've been doing this, we've been looking at the think a million, earn a million, net a million, and receive a million. So far we've done think a million, getting your mindset set up correctly, earn a million, so really plugging your business into the different models, so the economic model, the budget model, the lead gen model, and the organizational model. And then we're transitioning now into the net a million phase, okay? So the net a million phase, the transition from earn a million to net a million, as we mentioned, has 16 main challenges that most agents face going from earn a million to net a million. So far, Mary Beth and I have covered the first 7 steps or 7 challenges. And today we're going to start focusing on number 8. We'll probably get to number 11 or number 12, depending on if Mary Beth is able to make it on today or not. But to start, we're going to look at page 232, the bottom of page 232, which is challenge number 8, consistently marketing your seller listings for more leads. So one thing that we've been talking about over the last couple of weeks through the Shift series and through the MREA is that every seller listing should yield at least one buyer in return. So you need to develop the marketing strategies that will yield that at least minimum one buyer. And one of the things, I don't remember if it's in this specific section, but Gary mentions that you must understand the market of the moment. So if you don't understand the market of the moment, you're not going to know, is the market moving quicker? Is it moving slower? Are houses selling? Are they not selling? Because, if you're getting offers the day that it comes on the market, you still need to market the home properly to still be able to, get that one buyer. So just make sure you're properly marketing seller listings. So one of the things that Gary writes on page 233, he says, it is extremely important that this marketing also generate more buyer and seller leads, which you can then capture and follow up on in a systematic fashion. When real estate markets get hot and listings sell in a matter of days, like I was saying, rather than weeks, many agents tend to focus entirely on getting their listings sold and forget that the listing is also a marketing vehicle. So that's critical. So when we're looking at a property and we're looking at the end result of it getting sold, we're not always looking at it from the perspective of still using the listing as a marketing vehicle to get buyers and attract other business from it. So it's really important that when we're talking about consistently marketing your seller listings, and really what Mary Beth and I have been talking about the last couple days, and really last week, which was the lead generation model, is you need to have a systematic follow-up program in order to capture all of the leads that come in on a specific seller listing. So if you're marketing, how are you capturing them? What system are you putting them into? What follow-ups are you putting them on? In the KW Command platform, we have smart plans. We have neighborhood nurtures, and it's up to the minute information. So, when you get information from a client, you can enter them into Command. And right now, I know people watching on Facebook Live, we have a challenge out right now that if you set yourself, you, the agent, up on a smart plan, and take a screenshot showing that you did it, you can send it to Allison and be entered into a raffle where one person will get picked out, and we'll do a $50 Facebook ad campaign and help you create it to really teach you how to utilize it. So when we're looking at that, when you're getting these leads, when you're getting these buyers, what follow-up program are you putting them on? And the thing that I do like about the KW Command platform is it's easy to set something up and then forget it. So those set it and forget it campaigns. Um, and KW Command allows everything to be very consumer centric. So when we're looking at it from the perspective of it enhances the agent experience and it's going to benefit you, the agent, but it's also consumer centric. The technology, I always like to equate our technology to Netflix, Amazon, uh, you know, all those things, Facebook. When you log in, the system knows you better than you know yourself. When you're logging into Netflix, it knows because you watched X, you're probably going to want to watch Y. It's picking up on your patterns and the things that are important to you. And much the same way KW Command does the same thing. If you put in a neighborhood that a person is looking to buy in, or if it's a seller, their home address, the neighborhood that they live in, they'll get updated information on that area. And because it's live, if you're clicking on something and you like a 4-bedroom property or a 2-bedroom, 3-bedroom property, a house with a pool in the backyard, it's going to know your tendencies and be able to help you continue to ultimately search for homes in a way that it knows you and helps you out, like a Netflix or an Amazon Prime and all of those. So continuing back into the book, the bottom of page 233, it says, remember, in the economic model of the millionaire real estate agent, half of your business can be composed of buyer leads you capture from your seller listing program, like I just said. So your marketing machine never stops and rests, because if it does, it loses its effectiveness and your business becomes too vulnerable to market shifts. So much the same way that you have to lead generate every single day, and we've been talking about that as one of your 20%, and ultimately being one of your rocks, so is marketing. You have to make sure that you're doing it consistently. Because what did we talk about yesterday? If you don't lead generate consistently, you're going to have that up and down kind of roller coaster feel to your business, where you'll have peaks and valleys because you're focusing on lead generation, then it's getting them closed. Lead generation, getting the business closed. To avoid that, you need to consistently lead generate every day, and you need to consistently market your listings and your properties and have a consistent touch campaign set up. So that way your clients are getting consistent interaction. You're getting touched regularly. So as I said, your marketing machine never stops and rests, because if it does, it loses its effectiveness. So like I said, similar to lead generation, if you're not doing it daily, that up and down is going to happen. Same too with the marketing. And hey, Mary Beth.
Hey, Matt. Thank you.
How's it going?
Going good.
Good. Well, we are live on Facebook. We're here on Zoom. It's been a solo show, but I'm happy to have the co-pilot back in the saddle. So I just finished talking about number 8, 232 to 233, which is consistently marketing your seller listings for more leads. And I think I was really just about to transition now to page 234, which is now heading into the leverage piece of the challenges from getting from earn $1 million to net $1 million.
Sure.
We're looking at number 9, which is making the time to learn and implement the RTCK process.
RTCK.
For those of you who don't know, the RTCK stands for recruit, train, consult, and keep. And so I'm going to turn over to you for a second, just so people can hear another voice. But at the top of page 234, Gary says, hiring people is easy. However, bringing talented people into your business to work with you is never as easy as you might think. And that's really a segue into these next couple pages.
Yeah, so it's funny because as a team leader, when we identify what our job is as a team leader of the office, overseeing the whole office, it's really the CEO position, and our job is the RTCK. It's to recruit, it's to train, it's to consult, and then to keep people motivated and keep people growing as well. So it says here, delegating and letting go was difficult in the beginning.
Yep.
But I really like it now. Jack and I take trips 2 or 3 weeks at a time, and the business keeps on going, and no one knows that we're not here. that's when you've truly arrived to create a business where it's not dependent on you showing up and being in it. It's the difference of owning a business or being an employee inside your own business.
Right.
And so, that speaks to the 4 quadrants, the cash flow quadrants with Robert Kiyosaki. Another great book if you haven't read that, Cash Flow, and followed that. Anything from Robert Kiyosaki, Rich Dad Poor Dad. It's great. But it talks about, are you an employee? Are you self-employed? And most real estate agents are self-employed. Do you own a business? Now, this is where we start to talk about owning a business. And are you an investor? Now, if you're an investor in a real estate business, it might look like you're not there anymore. You have a manager, you have a CEO, you have a director of ops.
Yep.
You've replaced yourself. And so that's what this number 9 is, making the time to learn and implement that is really the secret sauce of being able to become an investor of your business or be a business owner. And with that though, guys, inside this recruit, train, consult, keep, what do you think is on the other end of those words? People.
Yeah.
You have to recruit people. You have to train people. You have to consult people. You have to keep people. And so I just want everybody to be clear that when you are leveraging and you are making a decision to create a business where this is part of your model, you are responsible for these people that you bring into your world. Yep. And so a lot of people don't think about that part. I'm not saying that they don't care about that part. It's just not typically the first thing that they're thinking when they're growing. They're growing because, maybe there's ego. Maybe I want to go bigger. Maybe I have to because there's so many leads coming my way that it's by force I go and find somebody to start running my buyers. Yep. And yet I want people to take it really seriously that you now will have the responsibility of others, just like offspring that you have.
Well, absolutely. And I think, Gary says in here, and I definitely think this is true, the number one headache for real estate employers is turnover. No one wants to go through this process of hiring and then having people exit and leave. It puts such a strain and a drain on your business.
Well, and so there's a process. We call it career visioning. There is a process to make sure that you have multiple candidates and that you have a process of going through interviewing and assessing and just like agents, you guys can understand this, just like you would talk to a seller to say, three things could happen at this table, Mr. and Mrs. Seller. You can choose to work with me, and that'd be great. And I can choose to, we can also choose to not work together is one of the options. Yep. And so through this CV process, career visioning process, you're able to see, is this the right match for you? Is this the right match for them? And if it is, you'll know then how to motivate, inspire, and you'll know what that person is looking for, because we cannot make assumptions that every person that comes into our world when we're developing a business is looking for the same thing. Some people desire to be with somebody who's going to lead them. Some people have the desire to be with somebody who's going to help them make the most money. Yeah. Some people it's just, hey, I am not really good at a whole bunch of this stuff. And if I could find some way to complement, I can stay in the business. I just can't do this part of it. So I want to put a point on page 236. It says to remember these key points. 1, learn to recruit talent. And we're talking about that in the next point, 10. But the right person for the right job. Yep. Don't start looking at a person going like, I love Matt. Matt's a really great kid in my life. What could Matt do? No, don't do that. Say, I have a position in my business. Here's what it looks like. Here's the type of person I'm looking for. Yep. Matt, you seem to be a great candidate. Would you like to go through the process of being a candidate for that role? Yep. Right. And so it says, learn to recruit talent. And I'll tell you, talent is not going to be easy to recruit. Yep. Yep. The number 2 thing says, learn to train them to do the job. Yep. And, there's 2 things. It's, Matt, come with me and watch what I do. And then maybe you do it and I watch what you do. And then by month 3, you do it. And I just check it and go, hey, we're good to go. You're self-managed now. Yeah, you kind of let go of the reins a bit once you trust that they're doing what you want to get done. Yeah, and it's I had my first OP was like this. She would just always say, "Pull it. You want it? You want it? Take it.
Yeah.
Take it. Take it." Like you have to pull it away from me in order for me to release and give it to you.
Yep.
And so there should be some metrics that when that person is hitting that, that's them taking it away from you.
Yep.
So then it says learn to train them to do the job, and there's all different models for training them. Different roles have different. There's different resources out there. If
Yep.
you're looking for an assistant, which we know is the first hire, right?
Yep.
And what's the second hire?
Another admin.
That's right, Matt.
Yeah.
That's right. So it's 2 assistants first. So if you're looking for assistants, I'll give you a real simple solution is the Monica Reynolds Perfect Real Estate Assistant course.
Yep.
That is written for your assistant to create operations manuals,
Yep.
Process. And so that's already done for you. Now, 3, learn to consult them to do the job at a high level. We're not just going to teach them how to go show houses and then let them go off.
Yep.
We're going to expose them to some really high-end inventory and show them how to, get into convert and cultivate during that appointment. There's different things that you don't just send them off on their way. 4, learn to keep them. Check in with your people. Make sure that you understand that you're filling their bucket. Everybody has a level of, as Diana Kokoska said at that event that you brought her to, Matt, everybody has a sign on them. And, some is really big and some is small, but it's like, pay attention to me, like, hi.
Yeah.
And if you're not checking in with your people, and if that's a weekly meeting or a monthly or a quarterly, and I would suggest a real good quarterly check-in.
For sure.
So that you can see if their motivation has changed now with Corona. I would check in with everyone because everybody's motivation has changed.
Yeah.
And the 5th one is invest time. So RTCK, so your investments of time and money will pay off with excellence leverage. Do you ever get somebody into your world who's super, super talented and they've slipped through your fingers and they came in and they came out of your life so quickly and you're like, what happened?
Yeah.
Now, I would even say, think about a relationship. Maybe you had a great boyfriend-girlfriend relationship and it was like, what did I do there? Like, it literally felt like it was going to be so good and then it just slips away.
Yeah.
So who wants to go through that churning of finding somebody, but then not actually like keeping them, right? So make sure you're going through some of this process to not have to go through it again in just 30 days.
For sure, and Keller Williams is huge on helping make that happen. So as we transition to hiring capacity talent versus cul-de-sac talent, we've kind of talked a little bit about this before. So one thing that I wanted to kind of show and share, I'm going to share my screen in a second, is if you're in the process of hiring an admin or an assistant, and you want to go through the career visioning process that we're talking about, step 1 is to make sure that the candidate takes the KPA, the Keller Personality Assessment. And ultimately what that is, it really checks in on the behavior of the person to see how much of a match they are for the position. So one of the things that I had pulled up, I think it was your, actually I was going to show the job match report. So it's showing, and I wouldn't have done this if I knew you wouldn't be okay because you're high in just about everything because you're amazing.
Thank you, but that doesn't mean that I'm amazing. It means that I have, I'm very flexible, adaptable, because when somebody does have a lot of high matches, it's not always.
This is 2, 3. Finally, 4th page, we get to some mediums. It takes 4 pages just to get to a medium, but this is where you can really then match the person to the role. So if you're hiring for an assistant, you can match it against
me.
The role.
I'm probably a low match for that.
Yeah, if I were to go to the end, like legal assistant, listing assistant, so that's where your low matches. But in terms of leadership and owning, operating principles, team leaders, because then what you can do with this, so you have them take the KPA, see if they're a match for the position. Then what you do is you go through the career visioning process. So I'm going to pull up this is my KPA results for assistant team leader. So I'm kind of on that high medium, and it goes through how I scored, where I matched, like where my higher, where do I fall out of the boxes? You'll see I fit in a lot of the middle boxes, and
So for this instance, I mean, yellow and green is great. So
yeah,
in this instance, Matt, as you can see, optimistic. Okay, Matt is ranging at 7.5 on optimism, and yet the role that he matched up for is maybe a little more skeptical or a little more in the middle than on the positive side.
yeah,
And so that's just where a mismatch is in that role. Now, depending on where you are in the country, who your leader is, who your team members are, that may be necessary, that we recognize the position is calling for somebody a little more kind of, well, show me, well, yeah, I could be happy about that. And in this environment, we're looking for somebody that's a little bit more optimistic.
yeah.
So it's not to say it's 100%, green light, red light. These assessments are typically 25% of your decision-making process.
Well, and you'll see, like, when you're looking at mine, you've got the high impact ones. You'll see on the right hand side, high impact and medium impact. These are going to be the ones that are going to be most important for the role. So you'll see that I'm pretty in line with most of those or around it. The ones where I'm kind of a little bit off are a little bit more in the lower impact sector. But the important thing is, once you have that, before you even just write someone off, if it seems like they're a high or medium match, you then go through the match review, and you read through each one of these and say, okay, Matt, does this, on a scale of 1 to 10, how do you agree with this statement? And then it really gives you, ultimately a good snapshot of, does that person agree with you're validating the KPI, you're validating that the results seem accurate to the person taking it.
That's right.
And I'm not going to go through the rest of this, but I just want to show you guys that one of the ways to hire capacity versus cul-de-sac talent, a big piece of that is going through the full KPA process, not just saying, oh, my cousin said that, he's got a friend that would be perfect for this role, and then just say, yep, he's hired or she's hired. You really have to go through the 7-step KPA process, because a lot of times people will select themselves out of the process. They'll realize, what, this isn't the position for me, or you're going to realize, okay, this isn't the right role for them. However, based on their answers, I think they'd be better as a showing assistant, or I think they'd be better as whatever. So it's really an opportunity for you to get to know the person and select them into a role that might be, if they're talent, you're going to make room for them. And that's one thing that Gary always says, if they're talent, you can't let them get away.
That's right.
And so Meredith, we just have a couple minutes left. Do you want to add anything to the capacity and cul-de-sac talent spot?
No, I just saying that talent will always push. If you have somebody that's on your team and they just seem to always ask you why questions, or they respectfully question decisions that are being made, or they seem to be your problem child. Listen, I was always that. I was always but why? But even with my personal trainers, but tell me what we're going to do next. And I'm not going to do that until I know. But why? Explain. Tell me why. That is a sign of potential talent, right? So you're just going to ask, what about that's important to you, Mary Beth? And I would say, well, but if you look at it this way, we could go in two different, and you have to let talent be talent. Do not be that person that literally pushes them under your thumb and reminds them that they work for you, under you. They always should be working with you. And, I've seen people come from one place and definitely surpass where somebody was looking down on that person and having judgment on that person and their business and who they thought they were. And then this person decided to take it seriously and put all these models that we're talking to and literally just blow right past this person. And this person then turns around and gets all bitter. And so I just want us to understand that don't be afraid of that talent that if you are that person looking down, you need to look at yourself, because you might just not have the leadership skills to attract those kind of people.
Exactly.
And believe me, it's scary, and it will force you to grow every time you are surrounded by talent. It will be uncomfortable. You'll be in uncomfortable conversations like, why is this happening? Matt, why are we, and it will force us to grow.
Yep.
And I just see so many people go and pick team members, and they put a limit on what they believe that person should be achieving already, or how they should be thinking, because they're going to work under me. Yep. I want you guys to understand that that is the law of the lid.
Yep.
And you are the lid. Yep. And so you will only be able to attract those people that are, you know, for the most part, attract into your business the same level or under. So if you're not thinking big enough, if you're looking at this person like intimidated that they might come into your business and take over, well, then you're not thinking big enough, and you're not the leader for that person, because it will feel like it is a battle. Yep. So I would advise you to let Matt and I help you with any of these hiring decisions. That's my 2 cents.
No, I think that's great, and I think that's a great place to stop for today. So tomorrow we have our MREI call with Kurt, Megan, and Dana, so I'm always excited for that. So that's tomorrow at 11. And then next week on Monday, we'll continue with the MREA. We're on page 240, which will be achieving accountability to the right standards. And this is actually a fun one that we'll go into, at least, you know, about documenting your systems and really creating that operations.
Matt, that's really fun. That sounds so fun.
See, that's the stuff I like. So I'm looking forward to that. And then in just 30 minutes, we've got Mary Beth's call. So we'll see you back here for that.
Marissa and Aaron, yes, I'm so excited.
Awesome. I'll see you soon.
All right. Okay. Bye, guys.
Bye, guys.